Hello, welcome PIA members. This is our first Power Pantry and we're really excited. So we wanted to offer you some bonuses throughout the year and this is one of them. Beautiful Power Pantry cooking class with your one and only Mal.
Yes.
So I will be the silent helper when you need me, potentially aiming the camera down if you need, but otherwise take it away now.
All right, so we're doing just something simple that you can do any night of the week. You just need really an oven. We do boil it ahead of time to make it the cooking through the cauliflower a little easier, a little faster, but super simple recipe and just great place to start. If you're just, it could be a side dish, could be a main. I eat the whole thing myself.
What's the title of this?
What is the title? What did we call it? It is
Roasted Cauliflower.
Roasted. Well, isn't that aptly named, right? We're having roasted cauliflower, and we're also going to for dessert. We're going to do like a cheesecake-ish thing with cranberries because we're going to do plant-based. So you'll learn something different if you've never made anything plant-based before, as a meal or as a dessert. So let's get started. So first of all, we're going to turn on the oven and we're going to do our dessert in first. We can throw the cauliflower in at the same time once we need to, but let's get our dessert going. We need it in at 250. So let's start there.
Our phone never rings.
It's fine. Bake. So we're just going to get that going. And then we're going to take our dates. So we have a cup of dates. And it's yelling at me. Hang on. Maybe I have to do that. It's not my oven. I don't know. So it's a cup of dates. And if you have dates that aren't really fresh, then you might want to soak them in a little bit of water, which is what I did because mine were getting a little bit harder. So the water had evaporated over time. And then I used that water to actually soak some of my cashews in once the dates were soaked. So it's a cup of cashews, a cup of dates. And we're going to put those right into, ideally, a food processor. I've done these things in blenders before, but it's harder because they're not very liquid. So they don't work quite as well. They make really great, tiny, smaller food processors these days too. So that's another option if you don't have a big one. So we're just putting that in there. Again, just so you can see, we parboiled our cauliflower. It's sitting and waiting. So if you haven't done that, you might want to press pause and get that into a pot for 20 minutes. And then we have our cashews, and I'm just going to pour off our water here to the sink. And then throw those in. And they really only soak for a few minutes. They don't need to be soaking because they'll be blending pretty hard, and cashews are quite soft with any other liquid. So it shouldn't be a problem. Then we're going to do a cup of rolled oats. So I have oats that are sprouted and rolled, nice thick oat. We're going to throw that into our food processor as well. And then we just need a little bit of cinnamon and a little bit of vanilla. I'd go with a teaspoon each. Go by the recipe if you want. I kind of eyeball things, but you do you. It's very thick. Interesting. This is one that Christine got from, where were you?
Dominican Republic.
Dominican. Ooh.
They are known for their vanilla.
We'll see what that vanilla is like. It's almost like
syrupy.
Yeah, it's almost in between like a vanilla and a molasses is what I was thinking, the consistency. So we'll see what that does. All right.
Some cinnamon?
Cinnamon is here. So we're going to do, I think it's about a teaspoon in the, yes, a teaspoon. So get your teaspoon out. That's how you do it. All right, and I use Ceylon. I don't have to look at the brand or anything. I don't get money for this. But Ceylon is the type of cinnamon that I use. So that might be something you want to get. And then we're just gonna mute it or pause it because I'm gonna do the whole food processor thing. It's gonna be loud. Just check the texture. So I've done it maybe for 30 seconds already. And I'm gonna scrape down the sides, make sure the big chunks of dates get pulled down into the batter. And then we're just kind of looking for a texture that we could push out into the pan. So you'll get something a little like this. And it's just going to be broken up enough to again, pat it down into a springform pan, ideally, which went somewhere. So the springform is just two pieces, right? It's a rim and then the base. And you attach it with the, I don't know, the thingy.
Clip.
The belt clip. I don't know. So, and that's usually what's used for cheesecakes and things like that, because then you can take the side off easily and lift it out. So you can put parchment down or something like that if you'd like on that. I'm not going to do that today because I'm just a rebel like that. I don't know. And we're going to put that into the bottom. There's one runaway date that didn't get chewed up, so I'm just gonna leave that to the side. And what you can get parchment for, if you're finding this is quite sticky, is that you could put another piece of parchment on top to press it down so that your hands stay clean and that it's easy. It's really easy to go around it when it's got another piece on top. Wax paper, I guess, if you don't have parchment. Or you could just try and use a spatula, press it into form. That's really what we're doing. So you'll get something like that. All right. Just make it as tidy as you like. You can come up the edge a little if you want to have it cupped in there, snuggling into that crust. And again, if you don't do cashews or nuts, you could use seeds, you could use sesame seeds, you could use white beans. That would not change the color, or chickpeas even, to change from the nuts over. Those are two options. Okay. So kind of going up the sides. I don't know if you can see that in the video, but that's sort of what it looks like. So now we are going to go to the filling. So ideally you have silken tofu. I like to go organic on tofu, non-GMO, etc., which can make it really hard to get silken. So it's not that silky, but you know what, we're going to blend it, so I think it's going to be fine. I've done it before in other cases, so it should be good. I'm just dumping the water out. We don't need the water. And then it's only a cup, I think. So this is a little more than that, I believe. Again, there's a cup. That's what you want to fill.
That's what I would be using.
That's what you would be using. And you could double it. I feel like it's going to be quite a light center for the amount of crust we have. I feel like this crust is going to be quite thick. And you could actually save some of it, put it aside, make some little tiny cups, like individual cups with that size filling. We'll see. So then again, you could be using cashews or and in the case of being soaked, that would be great as well. But it doesn't have to be. Again, like I said, with cashews, they're very soft. They get soft very quickly. So we're going to use a cup of this, or you know what? We'll use a half a cup this time. Excuse me. And we're going to use a half a cup of sunflower seeds just to mix it up. So again, you could use all sunflower seeds if you don't want to use nuts. You could use the beans again as an option to switch it over. Or you could use a combination. Why not? Life is short. Try things. Okay. So that was sunflower seed and cashew. We're gonna put some coconut, well, actually we're gonna use maple syrup. So half a cup, so half of that. Right about there. Again, you could use coconut sugar, you could use date sugar. You could even maybe use like browning bananas, that kind of thing, just for the sweetness content. Then we're going to use coconut cream. So I just have this one here today. Again, it'll be about half a cup.
Is that different than coconut milk?
Yeah, coconut milk it can have a cream layer on top, but it's more of the liquid versus the thicker, meatier stuff in the coconut. That makes sense? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So one way to do it is you can refrigerate your can, and as it's sitting in there, the top will become thicker, and that's the easy way to extract. If you only have coconut milk can, then you could use maybe two. You might need two because you need half a cup here. So you could, if you put it in the fridge, then the liquid stays on the bottom, and the top part that's hard will solidify, and you can get that out more easily. You could be Vanna.
Yes, I'm just holding up the product. We are not endorsing any particular product or brand.
No.
Just to see.
So we're doing about half a cup. So that's about a third of this can from my eyeball.
No, it'll be almost 2/3 or 400 mil.
This is 400 mil?
Yeah, so 250 mil is a full cup. You want a half a cup?
1.5 cup.
Okay, so you're right. Never question the chef. Backseat driver.
So that is our coconut. Then we're gonna add some lemon juice. Look at this little thing. Tiniest juicer in the world. We're gonna see if we can get it to work. It's very small.
It's mine.
It's Christine's, and she had it in her tiny little hand, and she said, "Oh, it's small, but it relative to her hand, it looked normal." I don't know. So we're just gonna juice it. You can always just use a spoon. It's easier to have your hand under it, though. You could do it into a bowl and catch the seeds. You don't have to have a juicer of any type to make it work, really, but sure does make it, when you have the right tools, it makes the job easier.
For sure.
So we're just gonna get some of this lemon out.
How much lemon?
We only need a tablespoon here. It's just for some tartness. Sticky seed catcher. So we're just gonna put in a tablespoon. And then we are going to do a tapioca starch, which I could have done with the lemon juice, but so I have tapioca starch here, which is just it's made from tapioca. It's just flour basically made from tapioca. So we are going to get 2 tablespoons. I did bring out a tablespoon just to show you, and I had it earlier.
There it is.
Thank you. So 2 tablespoons of the tapioca. And then we're just going to add a little dribble. I guess we're going to put a little bit more lemon in, just because. Epic moment with the teeny tiny juicer. We just need a little bit of liquid from that to mix with the tapioca. So I'm going to blend this part up first. Now this will be loud as well, so I think we'll pause when we're blending. So we'll see you in a second.
I will pause.
So we've done an initial blending, and now we're going to add the rest of the ingredients in. So we've got vanilla, the tapioca, and a little bit of salt, right? Like a half a teaspoon of salt just for flavor enhancement. So let's do that. Vanilla, and then the tapioca. And scrape down the edge of the blender as always. Oh wow, it really got hard. Splashed everywhere because not quite enough liquid that was in there. Since it's going in the blender, you could just skip that step and just put the tapioca right in there. Normally, many of the starches you want to kind of make them liquidy beforehand, but so they're not clumping. But because it's going in the blender, you could just skip that step. You mess in floor.
I always make a mess, so you're good.
All right, we'll see you in a sec. So we've blended and blended, and this is what we have now. So it's still a little chunky. This is not, I have a Vitamix. If you can do Vitamix, get a Vitamix. But, you know, every blender is going to be a little bit different. They all have different capacities. You might want to maybe soak the seeds or nuts again, just because it'll make them softer. You'll just have to take into consideration that that's going to add a little liquid too. So maybe soak it in, I don't know, I'm trying to think of how you could cut out some of the liquid. But that's really the only thing that's going to change, is that it might make it a little too liquidy if you're pre-soaking. So you might have to bake it a little longer. It might be a little runnier. These are the things that you'll have to figure out if you have a different blender that's not quite up to speed. Get it? I'm a card.
Yeah, it's not the word I was thinking. Oh, funny.
All right, so this is what's going to be basically our cheesecake-like base. And then we decided to do a cranberry topping today to stay festive with the season. So, stick that aside. I should have probably got that off first.
Here you go.
Too late.
Too late.
Too late.
Baby, now
It's too late.
Did you really did try to make it? You want to put that in there?
Yeah, please. Thank you.
See how handy I am?
She's good, eh?
Handy.
So there we go. Everything's in there. And that's it. Then just pop it in the oven at, I think it said 250 we're going by.
350? Or
Follow those directions. It's at 350 right now, but I think it said 250 for some reason. 30 minutes. Middle, on a middle rack.
I'll check the recipe just to.
And I'm going to clean my hands. So now the cheesecake is in at 250 and it'll be in there. I'm going to check it at 20 minutes because it was heated a little higher. But it's going to go in for about 30 minutes at 250 and we'll check it and make sure it looks fine. It's another, I mean, with that kind of a cake, it's basically raw. It can be left raw. You could put it in the dehydrator. You could put it in the freezer and just have it as a completely raw cake. So you don't even have to put it in the oven. So
Frozen
it's really,
dessert.
yeah, frozen. So you cut it once it's set up and
Yeah.
froze. So all more options for you. So now we're going to do the cauliflower. This beautiful head, we had boiled it in this big arse pot there. And we're just going to take the cauliflower now. Yeah, we're going to do it this way. We're going to take the cauliflower. We're going to take some olive oil. My hands are clean. I just washed them at the tap, as one does to wash hands. we're gonna take the olive oil and we're just gonna massage it in. So my cauliflower is cool enough, by the way. So you wanna make sure that it's not hot because it's not gonna feel good. So you're just gonna rub that all over. And this is your sticking surface. And again, if you don't use oils, you could soak and blend down some seeds or nuts. You just need something that you could use. If you're used to cooking that way, I'm sure you have your own tricks. So just use something that you could substitute for the oil. And then we're gonna take our spice mix. So as we said, oh, olive oil, it's good for your skin. As we said, you can use any of the blends that we had put up there, and we're using the 7 spice blend, the Lebanese style one. And I can't open it because now my hands are greasy. Hang on, my assistant will help me with that. Thank you kindly. So I just kind of spread it on top and then give it a nice rub. This is probably what they do when they do meat. Do rubs for meats, right? Smell though. Smell all these spices. So this one is clove and nutmeg and cinnamon and what else did I put in there? A bunch of stuff, but it smells delightful. And I like to do the bottom again as well. And then I add a little extra cumin on top. Oh, there is cumin in there. So it kind of becomes like a crust, you know? A crust for the cauliflower. Could you open the nutritional yeast for me? Thank you. So I do have nutritional yeast as well, and you're welcome to use that. It's not necessary, but you're welcome to use it. It's just it's a B vitamins blend actually, but it has like almost a cheesy taste. So if you're making plant-based cheeses, you often put nutritional yeast in it for the cheesy effect. So there we go. Simple.
But it's vegan. It's plant-based.
It's plant-based.
There's no dairy. Okay.
Correct. So we are going to pop this into the oven as well. This one should be done a little higher heat, 350. So we might wait a few minutes to wait till that is done and then throw this in at 350. And it'll brown up nicely. And while that's browning up, then we can make our dressing for the top.
And I'll pause it.
Okay, so we've put the cauliflower on a baking tray and that'll go in as soon as the oven's ready and the dessert is out. We'll be putting it up to 350, which I believe is where it needed to go.
I'll check on that.
Thank you. Now we're gonna make the tahini dressing. So tahini, I don't know if you know this, fun fact, I guess, that tahini is actually sesame seed ground up. So you can, if you have sesame seeds, you can do it that way. But we want, what are we doing? We're doing a third of a cup.
And the oven will go up to 400, according to this.
Thank you. So, third of a cup. I don't have a third of a cup thing, but you know, that's how I roll. So, third of a cup. I'm going to be tasting it anyway, so I go by taste usually. That's why I don't understand why people are scared of the kitchen, or some people are scared of the kitchen, you know? But
scared.
It's
just so much pressure to get it right. With
well,
my annoyingly picky family.
There's that. That's not helpful, I suppose. But you know what I'd say? Suck it up or make it yourself.
There you go.
Suck it up or do it on your own. We're almost there.
That looks like a half a cup already.
Really?
It does.
It's very skinny though, so
That's true.
I don't think it's quite
I'm
it.
jealous.
Okay, so
Baked tahini's delicious, so.
yeah, it's forgiving anyway. So then we have lots of parsley, some Italian flat parsley here, and cilantro. And we're gonna add that as well. I'm just gonna take off some of the stalks. Again, it depends on your blender. If you have a good blender, you don't have to take as much off. but I'm just going to try and keep some of the thicker stalks from going in. Not that you can't eat them. Again, you could save them and make them into broth, right? You can save all your bits that you cut off and make a nice veggie stock out of it. So then we're just going to, once that's prepped, then we're gonna, this one's a big one. Then I'm gonna add little bits at a time just because we're using the small blender. This one looks a little sad. I'm gonna cut it into somewhat smaller pieces just to give the blender a break. And again, I don't know if it's how good a blender is. We're doing all this at Chris's house, so it's all new to me.
Maybe you should come and cook more often then.
Maybe I should be invited.
Oh.
Just kidding.
Yeah, I'll invite you to come over and cook for me. I love it. That's a wonderful thing.
I probably would not say no. Say it's something else going on. So
Everybody hear that? Mm-hmm.
it's on. It's recorded.
It's recorded now.
It's recorded. Okay, so there's. We'll start with that. We'll see how it blends because I'm gonna add some lemon anyway with our teeny tiny juicer here. And then we also have mint that we'll add, some garlic. Will you grab that garlic for me? And I guess you could bring the mint over now. The mint is straggly. It was from my mom's garden, actually, still growing. So we're just gonna have to pick through some bits. But honestly, mint is so delightful in this recipe that I would not
Skip it.
skip it at all because it's so
Delicious.
freaking awesome.
So how much lemon?
Lemon juice from half a lemon, but we're doing a bit more than that. So we're gonna do probably a full lemon juice. But again, go by your taste buds. I just need some liquid in here to start. So we're gonna see how that goes. And then if it needs some more citrus, then we'll add even more. You have to taste things you're cooking. This is even worse than it was. Not sure why. What happened to the mint? Weird. Smells delightful. So I'm gonna add a little salt. I'm gonna add some, nutritional yeast is optional in this as well. But the mint really just adds a nice punch that is unusual in our savory dishes here on this side of the world.
I say the same for a mojito. You need the fresh mint.
You absolutely do. Is that why you grow mint? No, did you grow mint this year? I think you did, didn't you?
I think Donna did. My neighbor is a wonderful gardener and we sort of share space out there.
Well, lucky
I
you.
reap the benefits, yes.
Lucky you. So again, just getting some of this. I would use even more, but it was in better shape yesterday. I don't know why it's gone downhill so quickly, but so delicious in this, really. So did I do the salt? I didn't do any salt yet. So I'm going to add some salt.
How much salt?
We are going to add a pinch of salt. That was more than a pinch of salt, which is fine. Oh, and this is where our hemp hearts. So I don't know if you know what hemp hearts are, but that's another great way to make sauces or milks or things like that by adding hemp hearts. There's a lot of protein. It's just the center of the hemp seed. The outside is obviously very fibrous, and this is what the hearts look like.
Our heart to yours.
Our heart to yours. So I'm going to do a couple of tablespoons of that. Let's see what it says here. Yeah, 2 tablespoons. Look at that, right? So again, we're gonna have to just see how this blends up because it's gonna probably need a little more liquid than that, but let's give this blender a shot.
Oh, and time to check the cheesecake.
Yep. So this is what it looks like. It's quite thick right now. As you can see, it's not coming off. So we're gonna add, the tahini was super thick. It didn't have a lot of liquid in it. So we're just gonna add a little water, and we're doing a tiny bit of olive oil as well. And then we took our garlic, because we hadn't added that yet, smashed it up. I'm not gonna add all of this because Christine's kids are eating it and it's gonna be raw, so it's gonna be pretty strong. It
We do
depends on
like
your own-
garlic.
Okay, well, we'll taste it. We'll put half of that one in because it was a big fat clove. We'll put half of that in. We'll see how it comes out. And I want to add the rest of this greens too if the consistency is good and I need more flavor. So we're gonna do that. Give it a
How much
try.
water
Give it a
did you put?
taste.
A little bit of water.
A little bit of water.
Just a little
Start
splash.
with start with a tablespoon. Add another tablespoon. Add another tablespoon. Check it in between, right? Don't go overboard and put in half a cup, and then because you can't go backwards, but you can always add.
Right.
So always baby steps in. So look at the color of that. Isn't that beautiful?
It is.
And we added a little more lemon juice, a little liquid. We didn't say that we put, oh yes, we did. We talked about the water. I did put a little bit more water in as well. A little more lemon juice, probably 2 or 3 tablespoons actually, just for volume. More herbs, and then a little dash of maple syrup because it needed a little bit of maple syrup. And it's pretty good now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and
Delicious.
you have it to whatever consistency you want. Like if you like it thicker, then make it thicker. If you want it thinner, just add more water, and you might need to add more of the spices just to get it up to a taste value that you like. So that is your sauce.
And I love the mint. Delicious.
Oh, mint, yeah. Even more mint I would,
If we had it.
yeah, and I would chop that up at the end. Like I'm going to put all this on top as well. But I'm going to, if you had, we just ran out of mint, but if you had extra mint, it just really makes it all pop. So now we could work on the sauce. We pulled out the cheesecake and we put in the cauliflower and we put the temperature up to 400. So that's in there now. It's got another 20-30 minutes to go to crisp up. So now we can make the cranberry sauce. And we're doing that. You can use fresh or the frozen, but we have some nice fresh ones. So we're gonna take our cranberries, and we're gonna cook them down. So we're gonna throw those into the saucepan. Aren't those gorgeous?
Do you need to wash them first?
And they're very, usually you would. We could. But they're usually they almost look like rosebuds, right? They're very tart, obviously, cranberries. And Christine was saying, is that the same as bitter? And no, they're not the same thing. Bitter, actually, we decided tahini is more of a bitter flavor. Whereas tart like this just makes you go, right? Like it's very sour, more like a lemon would be tart, the cranberries. So we're gonna give those a rinse. And then we're going to put them back in here and we're going to add all of our other things, but we'll get back to you as soon as we get that far. So we've got the rinsed cranberries, pardon me, in the saucepan. We've got some of the orange juice already in there. We've been squeezing it by hand. So again, this is how we did it because the juicer doesn't fit, the other juicer doesn't fit it. So you just take a spoon, kind of core it, squeeze it as you do it to get the juice out. Not a big deal. We're gonna add in the couple of tablespoons of maple syrup as well. And then we're going to turn it on to medium low and we're gonna stir it. We're gonna cook it down for about 10 minutes. And then we'll come back when we'll show you the next step as it's a little bit cooked down, okay? So while our cranberries are still cooking away, the cauliflower has beeped. It's ready to go. So we're gonna pull it out. There we go. Smells good.
Looks delish.
Right. So that is that. We will plate that up. I also am going to use the rest of this parsley, cilantro, and if I had the mint, I would be using mint. I'm just going to chop it up because we're going to be putting it onto the top as a, you know, a nice topper with the dressing. So yeah, it'll be awesome. Lots of good greens too, right? So that is that, and the only thing we have left to do once the cranberries cook down enough, which they are not there yet, we're gonna have that arrowroot, or what did we use in the other one? We used tapioca. So you could, they're interchangeable. It's just something to thicken some stuff with. So if you don't have to go buy both. Yeah, I had both because I have that in my kitchen, but if you don't, then you could just use the same one for this recipe as well. 2 tablespoons of the powder of the arrowroot starch, and then we're going to add 1 tablespoon of cold water, and we're going to mix it in, and then we're going to add it once the lumps are out of this bowl. Then we'll add it to that once these have cooked down enough, and that's, I think, our last step. Then we'll be tasting it, making sure we are happy with the taste profile of it, and then that'll be done for the cheesecake. By the way, did you see it? Did we show? I don't think we showed it. So that's the cheesecake once it's baked. See,
It's running.
Oh,
It was still cooling.
it was still cooling apparently. So yeah, you do have to let it cool for a few hours, and it again, it depends how long you want to cook it, for how, you know, how solid it will be and how moist it was through your blender and all that kind of stuff. So you just have to kind of play with that a little bit.
Do you want to put it in the fridge? Would that help?
Yeah, that'll help. That'll cool it off a little bit faster for sure. And then we're pretty much done. So we'll plate it up and we'll show you what it looks like as soon as we get to that step.
Yay.
Yay! So the cauliflower is plated now, and we're just gonna cut.
How would you serve this?
How would I serve it?
Yeah, like to guests. Like maybe show us.
Oh, yeah. Well, I would just cut a slice like a pie kind of thing.
Look at that, jeez.
And then, so you've got your cauliflower section, and then you've got your delightful, healthy green sauce. You could put it underneath it and just plate it on top so you can still see the cauliflower, right? Like on a bed of the sauce, so that it's not as drippy looking. If you don't like that look, it's really up to you. And then I have the mix of herbs that I would add to the top as well. And then I like to throw on hemp seeds again. And I have black sesame seeds here, so I would be throwing those on as well. Yeah. So there you go.
Beautiful.
Do you want to have a bite and just
I would love to try a bite.
see what you think? It's going to be hot though, so be careful.
Oh, true.
But there you go.
I don't want to destroy it. It's so pretty, but I will, because it looks delicious.
We're getting hungry, smelling all this food.
Yeah, okay, here we go. I'm diving in. Off cameras. Oh my God.
Pretty good, eh?
Amazing. That is so delicious.
Yeah, there's really not a lot to it. Christine kept saying, oh, well, there's a lot of steps. It's not a lot of steps. No, once you get, again, I'm not in my own zone.
In my kitchen.
To know where things are and such. It's just blending the dressing, throwing some spices on the cauliflower once it's boiled, and put it in the oven. Pretty quick. I like it.
Delicious. All right. Should we pause and wait for the cranberries to...
Cranberry's the last thing. So we'll wait for the cake to set, cranberry stuff to be finished, and then we'll put that together too.
Sounds good. See you in a minute. We're still waiting, so we figure
make good use of our time.
This is still so delicious and it's still warm, so gotta keep eating it.
I hope you enjoyed as well.
All right, I'm gonna pause now. One more time. Do, 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 do.
So we're just adding our tablespoon into our starch, which until it's kind of smooth, right? We want to get all the lumps out. It's really hard. So I'm gonna add a little more. And then we're gonna add it to the cranberries, but I'll show you what they look like first because they do look lovely. Here you go. So they're all cooked down.
I wish the smell could come through the screen.
Yeah. Smell-o-vision.
That's good.
Okay, so once the lumps are out, it's not happened yet, then you're just gonna add it down, turn the heat back on. We had it off because we were waiting for something else to happen first. And then you're just gonna put this in and that'll thicken it up and that'll be the last step for the sauce. And then we'll just be waiting for the cake to cool enough so we can cut a piece up and you can see it. We'll top it with the cranberries.
Yummy.
So we're just waiting for the cake to fully set. It's not quite there yet, so cutting it means it'll just be a little bit runny on the edges, right? So we're gonna let that set and give you a picture of it later, but here is the cranberry done. And you can use this as cranberry sauce as well. That's exactly what it is for your, you know, your holidays, for your turkey or for your Christmas feast, right? So it's just, again, or you can add lemon rind in there too. If you have an organic lemon, you could add the orange rind if the oranges are organic, just for the purpose of flavor. You can add cloves in. There's a lot of things you could do to it. So
we added a little maple syrup as well to make it a little sweeter.
It was still quite tart, so we did add a little maple syrup. Yeah, so really it's all up to your palate. You just tweak it as you like. And I was gonna say that we have the cauliflower water. Ooh, very chatty water. We have the cauliflower.
My kind of water.
We have the cauliflower water there that we're gonna cook some noodles in for dinner for the family. And you can always save that kind of stuff and these the herb ends and onion skins, carrot ends, all of these kind of things. You can put it into a bag, throw it in the freezer or fridge if you're going to use it soon. This kind of water, just throw that all in, add some salt, and you have a broth, right? You have a veggie broth. Let it cook down for a couple hours, and that's it. Then you can bottle it and put it where you like to keep it, if it's in the freezer or in the fridge. So that's handy to do for that kind of stuff as well. Anything else you want to add?
I think we got caught. If you look over there, we're each having another slice of the cauliflower. Oops, it's so delicious and we're hungry. So yeah, we're both kind of digging in over there to that.
Yeah, so I hope you enjoy it. Let us know what you think. And yeah, anything else?
Thanks for joining us for our first Power Pantry. And we would love to come and do more of these, right, with you?
Yeah. And it's good to get ideas of what you want to see as well.
Yeah, and if we do them live, the pauses, we can just chat in between, right? But we wanted to cut out some of the blending noise and things like that just to speed it up a little bit for this video. But yeah, it was really fun. Thank you, Mel. Your wonderful expertise. You make it look so easy, doesn't she? So yeah, we look forward to some more recipes coming up in the next few months.
Awesome. Okay.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.